Greetings everyone, Baldus here. Over the past few days I've been testing a lot of different stuff in Diablo 4, and in this video I'm going to showcase you a tornado build for Druid that can comfortably complete T100 Nightmare Dungeons in Season 1. I would just like to say thanks to Mr. Jeffrey from the stream for sharing this with us, so I can then bring it to you guys. This build still follows the traditional setup, utilizing Tempest Roar, Direwolves and Rampaging Werebeast for our damage, providing great single target and clear. The key difference of this tornado build is all about stacking as much health as possible, while also maintaining a strong level of damage. The reason why health scales so well with this build is down to a few things in the Druid's kit. Combining the Circle of Life passive, Direwolf's Aspect, and Masochistic, we have 3 forms of healing that all scale up with our health pool as they all heal % life. This means we are able to sustain our health while also having a large pool to mitigate one-shots and heavy damage. Additionally, stacking max HP also leaves us with a much greater amount of injured health, where we can gain large amounts of DR to further mitigate damage at this threshold. Although we are very tanky now, this build does suffer with resource outside of Grizzly Rage and also the uptime. With the nerfs to cooldown reduction and Unstoppable, you do have to play a bit safer while doing these T100s, although that is expected as mobs still do hit very hard. When the clips come to an end, I'll be back with a quick look at the gear covering some key points, including the Malignant Hearts and Paragon Board. Okay, so I'm not going to go over all the gear aspects and stat priorities in the video. I'm going to leave that to the build planner in the description. Make sure you check out that after you've watched this so you can see what kind of stat priorities you need and the aspects. What I am going to go through is some key stats that are just pivotal to the build playing well, and then also the Malignant Hearts. Okay, so obviously Tempest Roar is still, a main thing of any of these type of builds. You've got to run Tempest Roar, and hopefully you guys get lucky enough to be able to use this at level 100. Key stat priorities: you really want to look for maximum life on at least 2 items. So I think the preferred is either on the chest armor and the legs, or you could potentially get some life on your rings as well. However, you are going to reduce your damage if you take maximum life on rings instead of chest armor or legs. I don't think you need to go full maximum life like on every item that can get it. I think that might be a bit overkill, because we're already 27.5k life with the max HP potion, which is easily enough. You don't want to limit your damage too much. So as far as other key stat priorities that I found very useful, it is going to be damage reduction while injured. Now, if you guys remember when we had all the DR nerfs in the before the season in that patch. Damage reduction while injured actually didn't get touched. It was the only one that didn't get a reduction, so it's still performing very well, and especially for T100 with this build. And considering we're stacking a lot of life, we have around 8k HP where we're getting this damage reduction while injured, so it becomes very tanky when you get to that threshold, and you rarely die unless you get one shot with this build. The gear pieces that can get reduction while injured include the boots, the legs, and also the necklace. Now, it's not easy to get damage reduction while injured on everything here, including like stats, so you don't necessarily need like every stat to be perfect rolled. You just kind of need somewhere around 70% damage reduction while injured, and then I think you'll be pretty good to go. So as far as the Malignant Hearts go, I've actually chose this Wrathful Heart for the necklace slot. And the main reason for this is that Tornado scales very well with attack speed, and just during that 20 kill window where you get your 24% attack speed, it just feels very, very nice for killing stuff quickly and gaining your crit damage stacks with Grisly Rage as well. Additionally, the second bonus, which makes our core and basic skills have a chance to fully restore our primary resource. This is very nice, especially when we have downtime on Grisly Rage, as the resource management is kind of rough with Tornado as it has such a high base spirit cost. So with this, it helps a lot just to keep that spirit high. The final bonus is pretty trash. It doesn't really do anything. It's a very small barrier. I think it really needs a buff to feel like it's doing anything. But again, that's just a negative that we take in order to get the other two positives. Now, for the second one, we're going to take the Suck Heart, where we pull in enemies during our ultimate skill. I think this is it's so important for Tornado, especially running T100s, and you have packs of elites. You know, when you pop your Grisly Rage, you're gonna pull all of the elites together, and it just makes it far easier to burst them down with Tornado. I think it's definitely essential for this build. And then finally, we're gonna take the Crit Damage Heart. This is just a flat buff pretty much to Tornado and any class using, any build using Earthen Might, as we're gaining constant Earthen Might procs, so we always crit pretty much all the time, so we're just gaining flat damage bonus here with the crit strike damage. Now, if you're suffering with survivability, you can also go this heart, which is a blue heart, a defensive heart, where you suppress up to 20% of incoming damage. This is basically just like a flat, complete 20% damage reduction buff, so it's very powerful. The explode doesn't do much, so don't worry about getting a high roll on the explode. It's just very important you get that good roll on the suppressed damage. But that's pretty much with the gear, so just key points include maximum health on at least 2 items. I would probably say just 2 items, unless you're suffering, and then damage reduction while injured where you can get it. Remember, I'll be covering all the stat priorities in the build planner, so check the description again for that. So we'll have a quick look at Spirit Boons. Just quickly, you want to get the reduced damage from elites. This is just best in slot for taking less damage. You want to go for the maximum life. This actually got buffed since the patch, so it's actually an even better choice now, giving us 14% maximum life. Very good when we're stacking life. And then for the third slot, we're still going to go Calamity for that increased Grisly Rage uptime. And then for the final, we're still going to take Masochistic for our healing, and then Calm Before the Storm to try and get our Grisly Rage off cooldown as much as possible. I'm also not going to go through all the stuff in the skill tree. I just want to highlight some key points for survivability, which include Circle of Life. So since the Masochistic nerf, we definitely have a lot less healing because it requires lucky hit chance and a crit instead of just a crit. So we do have less sustain, but Circle of Life really comes in clutch, especially with Tornado, because we're spamming a lot of skills. So we're getting this 3% heal every time we hit Tornado. So, not hit Tornado, I mean press Tornado. And then that just helps to keep our survivability up. Especially when we have such a high amount of health. We're getting 824 HP every time we use Tornado. So that's just really good. That's just the really key thing for survivability with this build. And then Paragon Board, this is where the build really comes online, and it's where we're really focusing and honing in on getting maximum life as much as possible and defensives. So we're trying to take maximum life wherever possible in our tree. So even if it's not the main stat, we're still taking it 4% maximum life, because it just scales up all our life together and just gives us that nice high number around 25k HP, which just means we can tank a lot of damage and also have that high damage reduction while injured pool. So more maximum life, just armor as well. We're still taking our damage reduction where possible, and then, you know, attack speed. And we still obviously gain exploit and do all the other things. We're not really losing that much damage going this route, trying to get maximum life. But in general, we're just that's kind of the aim of the build, as Tornado does quite a lot of damage on its own. We don't really need to scale the damage that much. It's purely just defensive, and then we can survive everything in T100 pretty easily. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we still take Height and Malice and all of that good stuff. Armor, maximum life, potion healing, even though it doesn't do much, but yeah. I just want to say once again, shout out to Mr. Jeffrey for sharing this build with us. I just wanted to showcase you this so all you druids out there can complete your T100s pretty easily. So I've run about 15 T100s and haven't failed a single one with this build. If you're just hitting level 100 and don't have the best gear, you might not be able to do it straight away. You might need to obviously still farm out a bit of gear. It's not as easy as going the Bulwark Explode build or Low Life Bulwark, you know. That build requires little to no gear because, as everyone knows, the damage is pretty broken and the survivability is very good. But if you don't want to play a bugged build, then you can play Tornado and complete everything you need to do in Diablo 4. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to check out the Twitch channel where I'll be streaming D4. Have a good day. See you next time.